All right, folks, make sure you get on Twitter and retweet it. We got the finals on the way. It is a best of 5 TVZ with TaeJa and Sacsri here in the hashtag Saving Esports one pancake at a time Bobble Convo OlimoLeague. Nailed it. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, we have our blue Team Liquid player. It's going to be TaeJa.
In the bottom left as the red Zerg, it's my Insanity's Sacsri.
So again, echoing a sentiment I made before we got into the game, while TaeJa is kind of sometimes the God mode Terran player, I really think if there's one guy who was going to give him a run for his money in the tournament, it would have been Sacsri, at least on the opposing brackets. Maybe Parting, because Parting's had some really cool PVTs in the past, but for sure Sacsri is one of the guys who give him a good fight here in the finals.
Sure. I wanted to check before I, start talking, but it always feels like Terran never really have a worse matchup versus Zerg. So there's that. But especially TaeJa has a pretty good win record, I'm guessing, versus Zerg. In fact, he has a pretty good win record against everything.
Yeah, well, it's TaeJa, right?
So, what's up. But I feel actually really good for TaeJa. I don't know Sacsri enough, I guess. Especially in regards to a specific matchup. To say like, oh yeah, he has a shot. He probably does have a shot, but TaeJa's just like the final boss, yo.
Well, what I find really interesting for Sacsri, as far as dealing with TaeJa in the finals, is he's really going to have to put question marks on whether TaeJa's going to cheese or not. Because what TaeJa I don't think is classically that cheesy of a player. It's really not out of the ordinary for him to throw down a 2 racks in game 2 or game 3.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Unlike something like Maru, who will do 2 racks game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. I did just check. Yeah, they haven't played each other for like months, so I didn't really talk about there. Sacsri's ZPT is actually really good though, so maybe you're right. So you're really good right now. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, lots of faith in Sacsri. Definitely one of the better Zerg players out there. It's sad too because he's kind of, I'd say, right along the lines of impact as far as like recognition goes. Like you don't think of Sacsri as being that premier A-list GSL champion Zerg player, but he very well could be someday soon.
Yeah. I just talked about how they haven't played each other in months. That's whatever. But actually, when it comes to the OlimoLeague, we usually have the same people over and over again. I mean, you look at like the people who have won the past OlimoLeagues, and you see the same name like over and over and over. But we finally have 2 new people. Yeah,
actually, I didn't think about that. It's kind of cool too because, yeah, we're so used to seeing people like Center and Impact constantly duking it out. But we're getting more names, new names, and what I really like about that, oh, nice save on the SCVs in the bunker. That's actually really cool.
Wall off though. Awkward.
I think I'll be okay with an SCV pull. This is not going to get too out of hand, I don't think.
Hopefully. No, it's just awkward.
But sorry, just get back at that point before we get off, because I think it's a good one, is we've seen a lot of growth with the tournament. So, yeah, seeing new names in the finals, not only is it refreshing, it's really reflective on how well the tournament's been doing. That's not stagnating with just, the Zotac Cup was Hyun, maybe Polt, Hyun, Polt, and then Hyun again. It was never anything different. But the OlimoLeague's constantly been swapping around who's been victorious, who's been getting the furthest, and I really have enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yep. Oh, shoot. Well, I don't remember what I was going to say, but Sacsri did just get a really nice scouts in the main. So that there wasn't a second gas. So the factory timing too. I think it might have been a little bit delayed because you did have to clean up the lings. Just a couple of seconds, not a big deal. And Sacsri did go for gasless. But that's fine because TaeJa didn't go for Reaper.
Yeah, and more importantly, that third base, we're so used to seeing these 2-base Mutalisk builds constantly coming out, but taking the third, Sacsri will get a little bit of money, a little bit of moolah.
I don't know what to talk about. Yeah, as good as it is to, new people and all that's fantastic, it's still not a very nice tournament for Protons. But Protoss has 7 wins.
I would argue that's less about Protoss being good versus bad, though, and that's more about the consistency of players. I mean, Alicia doesn't sign up every week. Arthur comes once in a while, and he's kind of cheesy, so it's really a coin flip whether he gets far or not. Yanghua, I think, classically, is probably one of the best Protoss players we've had as far as consistency in the OlimoLeague, but he hasn't been here in like 2 months. Myungsik was playing for a while, but now he's got Pro League.
Yeah, we had Hero once. It's just like they come and they go, and they have like 1 or 2, but we always have a bajillion Terrans.
Yeah, well, you know what would happen though? If Liquid Hero and Liquid TaeJa signed up, there would be a team kill at some point. Just
well, of course, like
that's how Team
round.
Liquid goes. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
And if it wasn't the first round, it'd be the second round.
Yeah, it would like definitely not the finals though. The Overlord did to try and go back in there and get another scout, but it is denied by 2 Marines. It is a 30cc build. Unfortunately, Sacsri does not know that, so A is on the option all in, which he probably wasn't going to. He went gasless, but more importantly, he does invest into maybe a Bailing Nest when he didn't really need it.
Well, saying his second goal and because of reason A, but also reason B of the fact that he did take a lot of drones here at the third. The money and the timing has been invested elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it would definitely, I like that he's playing safe. You know, Spore Collar's coming down. He wants to make sure Banshees don't get out of hand. This Hellion Banshee move that was so common has become really difficult lately, but it's not Hellion Banshees out of TaeJa. It's just Hellions, period, full stop.
Yeah, and that would have been really nice for Sacsri to know. You know, hold off on Bailing Nest until like the layer is even finished. Like that long would have been fine. And of course, the Spore Collar's pretty much completely unnecessary. He might reposition them as he cleans up these Hellions.
Ooh, nice timing on that Queen to spawn.
Oh, just look at a kind of a nice shot at the last second.
Didn't really get that many worker kills though. I mean, 4 drones died in total. That was really not too cost effective for TaeJa. Because I think the problem with that too is it's not that he didn't kill a lot of workers for the value of the Hellions, but he's no longer got any sort of map control. He can't stop the creep tumor spread. There's no picking off lings in the middle of the map that could have potentially become banlings. So that went poorly for TaeJa in a lot of different ways.
Right. It's also just like, I think if you do that move after your 3rd CC is done, it's like, okay, I don't have Hellbats, but no big deal. Or rather, like, landed. But if the 3rd CC isn't landed, I'd always be just a little scared. Like, the Marines are gonna get surrounded, aren't they? They're gonna die. I don't have Hellions, but as it is now, Sacsri didn't really recommit to Lings after that. Could have, and maybe done something. You know, gotten another lift. Spread creep, be really annoying. But for him, that wasn't worth it. It's just 6-7.
It's really interesting to me that Sacsri, by the way, or it's not Sacsri, TaeJa keeps scanning the natural base. He did this not once, but twice, and I really don't know what he was looking for with this, because you would expect him to scan the main, right? Look for the layer timing, look for the spire timing, things like this, but, I mean, he'd already saw the Bailing Nest with that first scan, so...
It might have been... We don't usually see this because it's so hard to scout, but that's also why some people do it. You know, that all-in that gets a layer and gets 1-1, but doesn't go for spire. And doesn't continue on the upgrades. So maybe he was looking for something about the upgrades, actually like wiggling and jiggling in the Evo chambers.
This wall's just barely not done in time. Marines are going to try and respond, but this is going to hurt one way or the other. TaeJa is really good at spreading. He's got good control too. So minimize the damage for the Banelings, but they still got nothing left over to deal with the Zerglings. Trying to bait this back to the bunker.
Only had Hellions.
Oh, Zombie Grub. Most unnecessary shots fired at someone who's taking damage from Banelings right now, okay? This is like kicking a man when he's down. Yeah, here comes the follow-up too. This might be game ending.
It might be, really. Like, there's just nothing to like consolidate. He gets in the SCV line. This would be game ending, not just because like this is unrecoverable, because TaeJa's probably like, this is a dumb, like, I'm not gonna play out this anymore. Just like the last series you saw.
I mean, the problem too is like the CC's not going to die. Hopefully, he can still lift it, but he lost a lot of SCVs in the attack. But weirdly enough, and this rarely comes into the consideration, he lost a lot of supply depots. So TaeJa is very badly supply blocked right now. Not directly supply blocked, but he will be in a second because he can't produce 10 Marines at a time like this. Not when your supply cap is 97.
Yeah. The worst thing about that attack was actually not that it was game ending. TaeJa's actually recovering rather nicely. He still has the drops going, but that Sacsri didn't necessarily give up a whole lot for it. Like, he was on absolutely perfect drones. He was on 67 or something. That's still pretty good, right? He still had the Spire, and he was still getting upgrades. Everything was just a little bit delayed to get those Banelings. So he should have been okay. But the Lings are out of position. They're running home back now.
Yeah, the Banelings more importantly out of position more so than the Lings. But either way, I mean, no matter how much damage gets taken in the main with this attack, there's a macro hatchery. There's 81 drones in play. It's really almost not too bad to lose some drones here in the defense, but oh, those Zerglings get wiped.
Oh, yeah, target's fired just. Oh, he should have well, it was only one medevac alive, anyways.
But he needed those Banelings, so more importantly, the Zerglings for the right side. So while we're sitting here talking the praises of, Sacsri through that attack, he's actually not going to be able to defend too well himself.
Just make sure the Banelings don't explode on the Marauders, and the Mutas cannot clean this up. So that did look really scary. It could have been an absolutely
I don't know.
There's
not that many Mutas.
Where are the mutas?
They came from the main. Okay, so 11 can actually clean this up. You're right.
And he didn't clean up creep. That's one thing he gave away by trying to blitz that third, which might have been a good move, but Sacsri just barely defended.
Yeah.
Is that now the creep is like really out of hand. And now Sacsri is kind of recovered. He's still on a high drone count. Like, are you going to be able to push that creep?
You know, normally as well, the upgrades are a lot closer to being done, but TaeJa, 5 seconds to finishing the upgrades, already lost that fight. Good game is called, and Sacsri will take map number 1.